She leaned on my doorway naked, grinned boldly, and said, "Well, say something." Far from Earth, far from the chatter and chaos of cities, this research station on the edge of the Saphira system was her kind of place. Nights here were long, silent, and cold, filled with only the hum of machines and the occasional warning beep from the sensors that scanned the surrounding alien landscape. Mara liked the solitude. It allowed her to think, to work, and to feel the pulse of a universe that seemed infinite and full of secrets. Tonight, she was alone in the main lab, crouched over a flickering console, tracing the signal that had been arriving in pulses for the past week. It wasn't like any signal she had seen before. No repeating codes, no standard galactic frequency. It was alive, almost as if it had a rhythm, a heartbeat. Her hand hovered over the keyboard, hesitant, because whatever was out there had managed to evade every probe, every scan, every attempt at communication for centuries. A soft sound behind her drew Mara's attention. She froze, her heart skipping a beat. The lab was supposed to be empty except for her. The doors to the observation deck were sealed, and the security logs showed no arrivals. Yet there it was, a figure at the doorway, tall, humanoid, but unlike anything Mara had studied. Its skin shimmered faintly, reflecting the dim light, and its eyes glowed like twin stars. The figure leaned casually against the frame of her doorway, as if it had all the time in the universe. "Hello," Mara's voice was cautious, sharp. "Identify yourself." The figure didn't step back or move forward. It tilted its head slightly, and then, unexpectedly, it grinned. "Well, say something," it said, clearly and in perfect galactic basic. Mara's mind raced. First contact protocols flashed in her memory, but they felt irrelevant here. This was not a hostile encounter. She could feel that instinctively. There was no weapon, no aggressive stance. Just confidence, almost playful confidence in a being far beyond human understanding. Mara swallowed and stood slowly, hands slightly raised, trying to appear calm. I don't," she started. "How did you get here?" "No one. Questions will come," the alien interrupted. "First we watch, we observe, then we see what you can do." Mara blinked. She had expected hostility or perhaps incomprehensible silence, not this. "What do you want?" she asked finally. The alien pushed itself off the doorway and stepped inside the lab. It moved with a grace Mara had never seen, every motion precise and deliberate. The moment it crossed the threshold, her sensors went haywire. Readings fluctuated, energy levels spiked, and the console in front of her began displaying patterns that she could barely understand. "You have curiosity," it said, as if reading her thoughts. "You solve problems, you adapt, but is it enough?" Mara frowned. I don't know what you mean." The alien crouched near her workstation, examining the console. Its hands, or whatever they were, traced the symbols Mara had been studying. Suddenly, it moved faster than humanly possible, rearranging the code, running sequences in seconds that she had spent hours trying to calculate. And then it paused, looking at her with those glowing eyes as if testing her reaction. "You learn quickly," it said, "but you must think beyond what you know. You must think differently." Mara felt a thrill of fear and excitement at the same time. She had imagined discovering alien life, but never like this. This wasn't just life, it was intelligence, an entity capable of assessing her mind, measuring her capabilities. And yet it was playful, almost teasing, expecting her to rise to the challenge. She took a deep breath. "All right," she said, "then show me what you want me to do." The alien stepped back, its grin widening. "Observe this sequence, then improve it, do it faster, do it better. Show me how a human solves what I create." Mara's mind raced. The console displayed a series of complex equations, logic puzzles, and shifting energy patterns that seemed impossible. She studied them, feeling the weight of the challenge, knowing that the alien could see her hesitation. She swallowed her fear and began typing, improvising solutions, testing hypotheses, ignoring the growing panic that this might be beyond her abilities. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time felt strange in the presence of this being. Slowly, she began to see patterns the alien had hidden within the puzzles. She implemented changes, combined unexpected solutions, and pushed the console to produce results that even she didn't fully understand. The alien watched silently, its glowing eyes fixed on her every move, and then finally it nodded. "Interesting," it said. "You see what others do not. You adapt. You dare." Mara paused. "Dare. You do not fear failure," the alien explained. "You act boldly. This is rare among your kind." Her heart swelled with pride, though she tried not to show it. She had faced impossible challenges before, on Earth, in simulations, in risky engineering missions, but never like this. Never against a mind so alien, so superior, yet so curious. "Why are you here?" she asked again. "Why me?" The alien's grin softened. "Because you represent potential. You humans, most of you, are cautious, timid, afraid to reach beyond. But some you leap, you take risks. You do not just survive, you create, adapt, and conquer challenges. I came to see if this potential is real." Mara felt a chill. The weight of what the alien was saying was immense. She was not just being observed, she was being tested, evaluated, as if the fate of humanity rested in how she performed. The thought was terrifying yet exhilarating. "Then I'll do my best," she said simply, though her voice carried determination. The alien straightened, leaning once more against the doorway, its glow dimming slightly as if satisfied. "Your best is adequate, for now. But this is only the beginning. The universe is watching, and it waits to see if your kind can rise." Mara's mind reeled. The universe waiting, watching. She had always thought humans were small, insignificant at the edge of galactic maps, barely noticed by advanced civilizations. And now, one being, powerful beyond comprehension, was saying otherwise. The alien paused, then turned toward the observation deck. Mara followed its gaze, seeing her station in the midst of the alien landscape, jagged mountains and glowing minerals stretching into the darkness. Beyond, the stars shimmered, countless and infinite. "You will face choices," the alien said. "Some will be simple, some will not. But each will reveal what your kind truly is. Show me, Mara Kellen, the courage of humanity." And then, as suddenly as it appeared, it moved toward the doorway, paused, and vanished in a flicker of light. Mara stumbled back, breathless, staring at the empty doorway. The lab felt different, charged, alive, as if the air itself hummed with possibility. For a long moment she couldn't move. Then she leaned over the console, fingers trembling. The puzzles, the equations, the sequences, they were all still there, waiting. But now they felt different, like an invitation, a challenge, a promise. Mara straightened, her determination hardening. "All right," she whispered to herself. "I don't know what this means. I don't know what comes next, but I'll find out, and I'll make sure humanity is ready." Outside, the wind howled across the alien plains. The stars burned brighter than ever, and somewhere out there, she felt it in her bones, the universe had taken notice. The first step had been taken. The visitor had come, bold and curious, testing humanity's spirit. Mara knew this was only the beginning. She would not fail, not because she feared failure, but because humans never had. Humans faced the impossible, adapted, and rose above it. And soon, the galaxy would see what she had already felt. Humanity, audacious and unstoppable, was awake. Mara Kellen had spent hours replaying the events of the previous night in her mind. The alien's sudden appearance, its impossible grace, and the challenge it had given her, solving puzzles in ways she could barely comprehend, kept her awake. Every time she closed her eyes, she could see its glowing eyes, the playful yet sharp grin that seemed to read her thoughts, measuring her. She knew she was being tested. Somehow, she was part of something larger, something beyond human comprehension. But she refused to feel fear. Fear was useless against the unknown. What mattered was courage, creativity, and adaptability, the very traits that the alien seemed to respect. Mara's day began at dawn, though dawn on Saphira was a pale, soft glow that barely lit the jagged mineral cliffs surrounding the station. Her team had arrived, oblivious to what had happened the night before. They found her leaning over the console, reworking the sequences the alien had left, scribbling notes in frantic bursts of insight. "What's got you so absorbed?" asked Commander Havern, peering over her shoulder. He was skeptical as always, more concerned with protocols than mysteries. "Another sensor glitch," Mara shook her head. "No glitch. Something or someone is testing us, and it's serious." Havern frowned. "Testing us? You mean aliens?" Mara hesitated. "Yes, but not hostile." "Not yet. This is a challenge. They want to see what humans can do." The room went silent. The other scientists exchanged nervous glances, whispers of fear, disbelief, and excitement mixing together. Most of them had only read about aliens in history books and simulations. Few had imagined encountering one directly, especially a being as advanced and deliberate as the visitor Mara had faced. "What kind of challenge?" Havern asked, though his tone betrayed doubt. "Logic, creativity, improvisation," Mara explained. "They want to see if we can solve problems beyond what we already know. They want to see if humans can adapt under pressure." Havern shook his head. "I say we keep things safe. No experiments. No games with something we don't understand." Mara met his gaze steadily. "Then you'll be left behind, Commander. Not everyone gets a chance to prove what humanity can do." He opened his mouth, but she had already returned to the console. She didn't have time for arguments. The alien's words echoed in her mind. "The universe waits to see if your kind can rise." By midday, the first true test arrived. A shimmer appeared in the lab, a ripple of light that warped the air, and the alien materialized again, this time fully visible, not just in the doorway. Mara stepped back slightly, but this time she did not hesitate. "You have returned," she said, her voice steady. "I'm ready." The alien tilted its head. "Ready, perhaps, or merely brave, we shall see." Without warning, the alien raised its hand. A holographic projection erupted in the center of the lab, a complex three-dimensional lattice of shapes, lights, and symbols, rotating and shifting in impossible ways. It was a puzzle, yes, but far beyond anything Mara had ever encountered. Lines of light intersected at strange angles, forming patterns that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "This is the first trial," the alien said. "Understand it, solve it, or fail." Mara's mind raced. She analyzed the shapes, tracing their movements with her eyes, noting the patterns. The lattice pulsed and shifted whenever she tried to focus, as if testing her attention, her patience, her perception. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to remain calm. Panic would do nothing here. Hours passed. Mara tried one approach, then another, sketching ideas on digital pads, running simulations in her head. Nothing worked perfectly. The alien watched silently, glowing eyes fixed on her every move, measuring not just the correctness of her solutions, but her ingenuity, her courage, her persistence. Finally, she remembered something. In her research on Earth, humans often solved problems by combining creativity with simplicity. The alien's lattice was complex, but perhaps the key was not brute force or raw intellect, but seeing connections others missed. She stepped closer, her hands tracing patterns in the air, mimicking the lattice's movements. Slowly, she nudged one section into alignment, then another. The lattice pulsed, shifting violently, almost rejecting her solution. But she persisted, moving pieces in ways that seemed counterintuitive, bending the structure in ways the alien may not have expected. And then, with a soft click of light, the lattice stabilized, forming a coherent pattern that radiated outward in a brilliant display. The alien's eyes widened slightly, a glimmer of approval. "Interesting," it said. "You do not follow expectations blindly. You act, you adapt, you create." Mara exhaled, her hands shaking. "So I passed?" she asked, though she already suspected the answer was more complicated. The alien's grin returned. Passed, perhaps, but the next trial will test more than your mind. It will test your courage, your teamwork, your very essence as a human. The lights in the lab flickered and the walls seemed to fade away. The outpost vanished, or so it felt, and Mara found herself standing on an alien landscape under a violet sky. Towering crystalline structures glimmered around her, and strange creatures flitted in and out of view. The air hummed with energy that seemed alive, vibrating through her bones. "Welcome to the trial ground," the alien said. "Here, you will not only solve problems, you will survive them. You will demonstrate why your species deserves to stand among the stars." Mara's team had appeared beside her, confused but ready to follow her lead. They looked around, awe and fear mixing on their faces. Mara's mind raced. This was more than a puzzle. It was a test of human adaptability and leadership. The alien waved a hand, and obstacles appeared, barriers that shifted and reformed, mazes that twisted unpredictably, and threats that seemed real enough to harm them. Mara realized immediately. The alien was not just testing intellect, but instinct, courage, and ingenuity. "Follow me," she said firmly to her team. "We can do this, together." The first challenge was a bridge of light spanning a chasm of swirling energy. Step wrong and it vanished. Mara studied the bridge, observing the pattern of its flickering segments. She remembered a principle from old human physics: timing and rhythm. "Move in sync," she instructed. "Count the pulses, step when it's solid." One by one, they crossed safely. Mara herself leapt at the last moment, landing perfectly as the bridge shimmered under her feet. The alien watched, nodding slowly. Next came a series of gates that required solving rapid logical puzzles. Each gate displayed alien symbols, shifting constantly. Mara could see the panic in her colleague's eyes, but she took a deep breath. "Trust your instincts," she said. "Don't overthink. Move fast, adapt, and correct mistakes as we go." They solved the puzzles in an improvised rhythm, improvising patterns and trial-and-error techniques that the alien may not have anticipated. Mara led the way, showing that human creativity often thrived in unpredictability, turning apparent chaos into order. After what felt like hours, the trials grew more dangerous. A storm of energy swept across the terrain, forcing them to use both intellect and courage to survive. Mara directed her team, building temporary shelters, using debris and alien materials in inventive ways. Each decision mattered. One wrong move could end everything. The alien's voice rang through the air. "You see, humans are not perfect. You make mistakes. You take risks. And yet you endure. You rise." Mara realized that the alien wasn't simply observing. They were pushing humanity to its limits, to see if boldness, creativity, and unity could overcome impossible odds. This was the essence of the HFY spirit. Humans thrived when faced with adversity, not despite it. Finally, the storm subsided. The alien appeared before them again, glowing brighter than ever. Mara's team was exhausted, battered, but alive. They had solved impossible puzzles, navigated treacherous terrain, and survived a trial designed to overwhelm them. "You have done well," the alien said. "You have demonstrated what I sought: creativity, courage, persistence, and adaptability. Traits rare even among advanced civilizations. Humans are remarkable." Mara felt a surge of pride. Exhausted as she was, she smiled. "Then that's it, we passed your trial." The alien shook its head slightly. "Passed? No, this was but the beginning. There are more tests and greater challenges await, but you have shown potential. You have shown boldness. That is rare." Mara understood. The trials were endless, just as the universe itself was vast and infinite. But one thing was clear. Humans had a spark the alien respected, a spark that could not be measured simply by intellect or power. It was their courage, creativity, and audacity, the HFY spirit that burned within them. As the alien's form shimmered and faded, leaving them back in the lab, Mara turned to her team. "We survived," she said. and we learned something important. Humans aren't just survivors. We're creators, problem solvers, and warriors when we have to be. And no one, not even the galaxy itself, should underestimate us. Her team nodded, exhaustion giving way to awe. Mara knew the alien would return, and when it did, humanity would need to rise again, even higher, even bolder, and Mara Kellen would be ready. Because the universe was watching, and it was beginning to understand. Humans, unpredictable and fearless, had the audacity to rise beyond the impossible. Mara Kellen had faced impossible puzzles and deadly trials, yet nothing prepared her for what awaited now. The alien visitor had returned, this time appearing not in the lab but in a shimmering sphere of light in the center of the outpost's courtyard. Its glow bathed the jagged rocks and metal structures, making everything else seem small, ordinary, insignificant. Mara approached, her team behind her, each member exhausted but resolute. "You have done well," the alien said, its voice echoing as if carried on the wind itself. "You survived, you adapted, you showed courage. And yet," Mara's pulse quickened. She had guessed that the earlier trials were only the beginning. "Yet what?" she asked. "You must now show more than cleverness or bravery," the alien replied. "You must show leadership, vision, and the spirit to shape your world and your species' future." Mara frowned. Leadership, vision, she had led her team through life-threatening trials, yes, but shaping humanity's future. That seemed impossible. She shook her head slightly, suppressing doubt. "We'll do what we must," she said. "We always do." The alien extended a hand. A projection appeared above it, a holographic map of the Saphira system. Planets, moons, and asteroid belts rotated slowly in space. Mara recognized one of the planets as a mining colony recently abandoned due to an unexplained energy surge. The projection highlighted a massive energy anomaly in the colony's atmosphere, a storm that had been building for decades. "You will stabilize it," the alien said. "Fail, and the entire system will be destabilized. Succeed, and you will demonstrate humanity's capacity to create order from chaos." Mara's mind raced. Stabilize an energy storm on an entire planet. The challenge seemed absurd. Yet, looking at the alien, she understood one thing: this wasn't impossible. Humans had always achieved the improbable when driven by necessity, courage, and ingenuity. "We'll need every resource, every mind," she said to her team. "Prepare the shuttle. We leave immediately." The journey to the abandoned colony was tense. Mara's team worked in harmony, improvising where necessary, adapting to new obstacles at every turn. Sensors flickered unpredictably. Navigation systems failed at moments that seemed deliberate. Yet Mara remained calm, using intuition alongside logic, guiding her team with quiet confidence. When they finally entered the colony's atmosphere, the storm was overwhelming. Winds of charged energy tore through the remnants of buildings, and lightning arced unpredictably across the sky. Mara could feel the raw power of the anomaly through the shuttle's hull. Most humans would have panicked, but she drew strength from the challenge. "This is what we were made for," she told herself. "Not to hide, not to submit, but to rise, to adapt, to face the impossible." The alien's voice echoed in her mind: "Boldness, creativity, persistence. These are your tools." Mara activated the stabilization equipment, a combination of human engineering and alien tech the visitor had left for them. The controls were complex, shifting, and semi-sentient. They required her team to act in unison, anticipate shifts, and improvise constantly. Each wrong adjustment sent energy waves lashing out, threatening to destroy the shuttle and everything around them. "Team, split into pairs," Mara shouted. "Adjust the polarity generators. Focus on the storm's frequency." Her team moved with precision, mirroring her calm determination. Mara herself worked at the central console, tracking energy flows, calculating adjustments faster than any human could reasonably do, improvising solutions the alien may not have anticipated. Hours passed in a blur. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and at one point the shuttle nearly collapsed under the storm's fury. But they endured. Every human instinct, every ounce of knowledge, every scrap of courage was put to use. And slowly, ever so slowly, the storm began to respond. The chaotic energy waves lessened, the lightning arcs became predictable, and the atmosphere started to stabilize. The alien appeared beside Mara in the shuttle, silently observing. Its expression was unreadable, but Mara felt a quiet approval emanate from it. Humans adapt, it said finally. They endure, they solve, they rise. This is rare even among advanced species. Finally, with one final adjustment, the storm ceased. Silence fell over the colony. The energy anomaly dissipated like mist in the morning sun. Mara slumped in relief, exhaustion overwhelming her but also exhilaration. They had done it. Humanity had succeeded where even the alien may have doubted them. "You have proven much," the alien said, its glow intensifying. "You have shown creativity, courage, persistence, and leadership. You have transformed chaos into order. And now," Mara held her breath. She knew the next words would determine not only her own fate but that of humanity's place in the galaxy. "Now, humanity is ready." The alien raised its hand, and a beam of light enveloped the shuttle and the colony. Mara felt herself lifted, weightless, as the projection of the galaxy expanded around her. She saw stars, planets, civilizations, countless worlds connected by the same unseen threads of energy and knowledge that bound all life. And at the center, Earth glowed brightly, a small blue beacon. "Your species will not be ignored," the alien continued. "You are unpredictable. You are daring, you rise when others falter. You have audacity, and that is worth notice." Mara felt tears prick her eyes. All her life, humans had been told they were insignificant, fragile, unworthy. And yet here, in the presence of a being beyond comprehension, she had demonstrated the very qualities that made humans exceptional. The alien's form began to fade, its voice lingering like a whisper. "Continue to rise, Mara Kellen. Continue to lead. Humanity will not be underestimated again." And then it was gone. Mara looked at her team, each of them staring in awe at the dissipating light. She smiled tiredly. "We did it," she said. "We proved what humans can do, not by brute strength, not by luck, but by courage, creativity, and daring to try when no one else would." Her team nodded, understanding fully. They had faced a test that could have broken them. Instead, they had risen. And in that rising, they had shown the universe the true power of humanity. Word spread quickly. Messages that had been impossible to send suddenly transmitted across vast distances. Other species, monitoring the Saphira system, began to take note of Earth. Humans were no longer invisible, no longer dismissed as primitive. They had audacity, ingenuity, and courage that demanded attention. Mara returned to the outpost's lab and looked out across the alien plains. The wind blew softly over the jagged rocks, the stars burned brightly above, and somewhere deep in the universe she knew the alien watched still. But now there was respect in that gaze, recognition of humanity's spark. For the first time in recorded history, humans were not merely surviving, they were rising. Mara thought of Earth, of her team, of all the human colonies scattered across the stars. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "We'll face greater challenges, stranger worlds, and harder trials, but we're ready. We always have been." And somewhere far beyond Saphira, the alien smiled again, unseen, knowing that a species once underestimated had proven itself. A species that could create, adapt, survive, and rise against impossible odds. The HFY spirit burned bright, unstoppable, unstoppable in its audacity. Humanity had taken its boldest step yet, and the galaxy would never forget it. Mara turned back to the console, already considering the next challenges, the next puzzles, the next opportunity to demonstrate humanity's daring. She knew this was no longer about one trial, one storm or one alien. This was about the future of her species, and she would lead boldly, with courage and ingenuity, because that was what humans did. The universe had opened its doors, and Mara Kellen smiled, ready to step through.